Hi there. My name's Paul Zajac,
Ole Stene.
and welcome to Boss Battles Top Five. This is the show where we look at other people's content, identify five cool things that we liked that maybe you can bring home and use in your game.
And today we're going to look at Nerd Immersion Plays. That's a channel that might be familiar to some of you. And they are playing Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelix. Again, a campaign that might be familiar to some of you. So we're looking at the first few episodes as a whole.
Yeah. So before we get started, spoiler alert that we do give away a couple of cool things. I don't think it's necessarily going to ruin the fun of watching it. And this series, especially the first few episodes, I got a lot out of it. It was both kind of like maybe think about D&D things, but then also was like fun. I think there was good role play. There's points of humor. A lot of good stuff in here. I really recommend watching it. Okay, so our point number five was a house rule that just made sense, which was allowing characters to use their strength modifiers for intimidation and not just charisma. And I think it makes sense to me that like a strong, stupid fighter could scare the hell out of somebody. So I really like that one.
For sure, the barbarians in the party should really like that one. Our number four, the barbarians will probably be a lot less happy about, as they run variants that give you grittier combat. First of all, if play characters go down, they will start taking exhaustion levels for every time they are reduced beyond 0 hit points, which makes it less convenient to just get knocked down. And which also amps the drama a little bit is that the GM runs secret death saves, so they never know if the players that are down have passed their death saves or not. So they might be doing just fine or being very, very close to dying for real.
Yeah, we talked about this again as we do before the show that we can and probably everybody has examples of this where it's as you put it whack a mole. Somebody goes down, comes back up, which is not like hyper realistic and could be fun. But I think this is another way to have fun. If you don't like that, there is. A good reason to stay up, and I guess it increases the caution, increases the realism, but is a little scarier. So yeah, we like that point.
Heal your mates before they go down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Our third point is an interesting shopkeeper. And there's a couple of things that this shopkeeper does. Number one, Ted does a really awesome job of role playing it. The guy sounds like exactly like Christopher Walken. And so it's fun to think about this Christopher Walken character being a shopkeeper. But he does a couple of interesting things. One kind of cool service he provides is the combination of magic items. Which I think makes some sense narratively. So you don't have your character, pulling out his cool sword, but then like, oh, I got to pull out my other cool thing because they don't share abilities. You can combine them, and so it can, I guess, preserve some narrative context of your kind of cool special weapon, and now it's even more powerful. Also, I like that there was introduced some element of risk into this combination, and so that's the number one thing. One thing the shopkeeper does. The other thing that the shopkeeper does is it negotiates with the party a deal to like, does the party want to accept a sponsorship from the shop where they're going to wear like an advertisement on their football jersey to get discounts? And I thought it was incongruous, but plausible at the same time. It was funny, and I really like that.
That sure does sound like something that would be absolutely in the right lane for boss battles. So on our second place is another GM ruling, not as much a house rule as a ruling there on the spot, as the play characters are facing a goblin boss. And the goblin boss has the ability to use his reaction to deflect a hit onto another goblin. So thing is that one of the player characters has disguised himself using magic as a goblin. And the DM rules that if you're disguised as a goblin, the goblin boss can deflect hits onto you,
Yeah.
which is hilarious, maybe a little bit unfair towards the players, but yeah, that it sure was fun.
Yeah, I think that that's yeah, it's fun. I think it also reinforces like some sort of realism within the game in that there's there's maybe consequences, good and perhaps bad unintended ones that can happen to you when you take an action. I think it was a really great improvisation, right? To like go like, oh, my guy's disguised as a goblin. And to like to put those things together in the moment, come up with something new. I love that when that happens. Okay, so then our number one point, and this is the real spoiler, but it was a great one. I, yeah, very funny. So I started watching the second episode in this series first because I was interested in what happened in Phandelver afterwards, and then I realized that like in the first episode they covered a lot of territory, and most people, or I think a lot of people, have had Phandelver and Below, or The Lost Mines of Phandelver be their introductory episode to D&D. And Kragma Hideout is like a kind of a classic battle. Like that was the first episode of Boss Battles, a battle against Clarg. And I'm like, wow, how did Ted manage to have like cover all this ground in one episode? And then when I listened to it, it became obvious, and this is a spoiler, that they're at the like right at nearish the end of the episode. They're outside Kragma Hideout, and one of the characters has a wild magic, as a wild magic sorcerer. Ted is like homebrewed some wild magic side effects, and one of them is that like they summon a fire elemental by chance, and then the character just goes, "Okay, let's just send in the fire elemental and kill everybody," and, and he does, and that was it. That was Kragma Hideout. When just one magic surge, and they dealt with the whole thing. It was good. You couldn't have done it if everybody hadn't played this already, but it was good. Okay, well, that is it. Those are our top fives. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.